Hi, and welcome to Landscapes with Laurel. Today we're going to talk chickens and how valuable they can be for your garden and for your pocketbook. I mean, let's be honest, chickens cost money. You got to feed them, you got to give them a house to live, but you do get some of the best eggs that you'll ever get. And with egg prices being $8 a dozen right now because of the bird flu and no end in sight, yeah, you might want to think about getting some chickens. So let's just go talk about some of the fun things that we can do with chickens and just to prepare and plan for those. So baby chicks are a lot of fun, but it takes them a little bit of time before they can go out in the coop, and you have to keep them in a brooder. And what we did is we just used a Rubbermaid storage container that was quite large and put the little roosting bar in there at the bottom that they could stand on, and it works really well. They need to be there for about 6 weeks. And so we just put that in the garage as long as it was warm enough, and had a heat lamp to make sure that they were at the right temperature. And if it got really cold, we would bring them inside. We created a wooden frame and then just put some chicken wire on top of it to make a barrier, because the chickens, when they get a little bit bigger, are going to try to fly out, and you want to make sure that they're contained at night. And then during the days when it's a little bit warmer, we would take them out into the garage if it had been a cold night. So just make sure that you have a place. Brooders don't have to be expensive. It just has to be a nice, warm place without a breeze that they can feed and they can rest. Now, I don't have a lot of space, and I don't have the skills to build a big chicken coop by myself, so I ended up buying one. But there were some things that I needed to consider. A lot of the smaller coops that you buy for yards and things have the roosting bars close to the bottom, and that's just really not good for the chickens. It doesn't give enough space for the bedding to be in there, and they need to be up high. They like to roost up high. They feel more protected if they're up high. The chicken coop that I have now, I bought at Tractor Supply, and it was small enough and inexpensive enough that I can afford it. And my daughter and I just put it together. So it has worked out really well. This is what the inside of my coop looks like. It's just it's a small coop, but you can see that the roosting bars are up there. And I just built a little ladder to get up there, and they are just happy and fine. So make sure when you are getting a chicken coop that you get one that's tall enough, that has the roosting bars up high, and then your chickens will be happy that you did that for them. The nesting box is on the side, and it's away from everything else, so just keep that in consideration. You don't want your chickens sleeping in the nesting box. And I found the first time when I was very inexperienced and I tried getting a small coop where the roosting bars were down low, my chickens ended up wanting to sleep in the nesting boxes, and that's not good. So as you can see here, not only did the chickens try to sleep in the nesting boxes, they tried to get on the dividers so they could get up higher, because chickens like to roost up high. The chicken coop that we have now works so much better than what we had before, and the chickens are a lot happier. The chicken run that we purchased for our chickens to go over the chicken coop and give the chickens an area to play wasn't very expensive at all, and it did come with a small tarp on it, but we eventually just decided that we needed a bigger tarp for them, just to give them more shade, reflect some of the heat so they could be cooler in the summertime, and it's done a really good job of protecting against the snow in the wintertime. So that's been a lifesaver, is just having that covered chicken run area where the coop is nestled. We don't want them mixing with the birds. I've had a couple experiences where the chickens started drinking out of the same fountain that I had in my yard, that the other birds were, and they got sick and died. So that was not a good thing. So just make sure you have some protection for your chickens as well. So we just put a cover over this. It keeps the snow away from them, keeps the chicken coop dry. They can run around. They have enough room to climb. We have a little roosting bar on the side. And then I do let them out in the garden so that they can take care of the bugs, and then they can do some dirt bathing in there as well. Sometimes they escape into the yard and that's what they did today. So we just kind of fed them. We don't like to do this very often, especially in the summertime, because they poop everywhere. And you can see there's a lot of poop on the pathway, but we just feed them out there and let them do it. It's wintertime and it's warmer for them so that they can be, against the house where it's a little bit warmer, and there's also a spot where they can do some dirt bathing. It's been very, very cold, and when it doesn't even get up to freezing, it's hard to take a dirt bath if I just keep them in the garden area where they're enclosed. So I let them out once in a while, but in the summertime, I keep them in the garden area. You can see here that I did kind of my own little enclosure in addition to my fence that I had around the garden. And the reason I did this is because the chickens can fly, and they would fly out of the garden. So just by putting that up there, it's not the prettiest, but it's not the ugliest. And the raspberries grow up and cover it up, and so you don't really notice it. But yeah, just having them be able to stay enclosed in the garden area has really, really helped.
There's the little baby rat.
Don't be alarmed when your chickens molt, because they will, and they look funny. But it's not a permanent thing. It's to get the new feathers to keep them warm through the winter. But I feel sorry for our little chickens when they start molting. But it works out, and they get the feathers that they need to take care of. Chickens, like as anything else in nature, they work it out. They have their pecking order. There's not a lot you need to control. You need to give them the food and the water and a safe place to be, and make sure that, they have everything that's provided. But as far as the sociality, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. These are some fun things that they have done over the years. They love to climb, they love to play. We've even had chickens that thought they were part of the family and wanted to eat dinner with us when we had on the deck. We learned that free-range chickens aren't always the best, and so we wanted to make sure that they stayed in that enclosure. But just enjoy looking at some of the fun things that our chickens have done, and they really are great pets. And I say that they're the pet that gives back. So enjoy. Well, I hope you enjoyed looking at some of the fun antics of my chickens over the years. I encourage you to try them. Like I say, the eggs are the best. So hopefully this has been helpful, a little bit of fun, and I hope you enjoy your day. Thanks for joining us, and keep growing.